Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reaper Wargaming Podcast. We are here. We must be in like nearly our 10th podcast now, which is amazing. And thank you all for continuing to listen. Thank you all for continuing to come down to the club. The club is the busiest it's ever been. We now are open on a Monday as well as a Friday. So if you're in Glasgow and you're like, where am I going to play Warhammer, or where am I going to play Blood Bowl? Or to be honest, you can literally play any game in the club as long as you just book a table, bring whatever you want down, and we're more than happy to host you in the club. And that is Mondays and Fridays. Is it every Friday, Keir, or is it? Every Monday, Keir, or is it like what is it, Dave? I think it's like 3 Mondays.
3 Mondays a month. One Monday a month is the history talks.
Okay, cool. So if you like history, there's also some history talks. But what we are going to do today is we have an RTT
signal there.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, did I come out? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, your signal just dropped a little bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, everybody. But yes, what we are going to do today is we are going to be basically reviewing the RTT that is coming up on Saturday, and we are going to be talking about what's going to be going on, what's happening with that, exciting lists, exciting stuff that we think is going to be happening for that as well. And we'll just have a general conversation about it, and then potentially answer some of the questions that come up in the chat and on our Discord, all of that kind of stuff as well. So, without further ado, Keir, do you want to kick us off, give a little bit of information? What is an RTT? What is happening?
Certainly, and I can only apologise for my lack of face today. Sadly, my webcam is not working. But an RTT is a single-day tournament, typically with 3 games in it, so perfect for people who maybe don't want to face 5 games in one weekend, which is absolutely understandable. It's only one day of the weekend. You have your other day to, I don't know, sit in your pants and meal prep if that's your thing. But yeah, the RTTs are generally a good day. I think, in a general sense, also more relaxed than a GT. I think that it's still competitive, don't get me wrong. But because it's not the 2-day commitment, generally people are kind of more, less, I don't want to say on edge, but I think some people come with some more fun lists, and actually we certainly have a few of them signed up for this tournament. I think we'll get into that a bit later on. But yeah, in its basic essence, an RTT is a single-day tournament with 3 games.
Amazing. So let's just jump in. We have a full sold-out RTT happening. It is happening on the same day as the London. Is it LGT? Is that what it's called? The London Grand Tournament?
Indeed.
LGT?
Yeah.
Great.
LGT.
Keir, Dave, have you both been to it? Have one of you been to it before? Has anyone been to it before here?
Never in my life.
I've not been to London GT. I mean, the closest I've got to was Manchester. I think that's the closest I've gotten to London coming to a tournament.
I mean, I've only ventured as far south as Nottingham. I took a look at pricing a trip to London for the LGT. It was something that we'd talked about earlier in the year. It'd be nice to have representation for the club there, but my goodness,
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
God,
yeah.
I mean, the only time I would even consider it is if my sister would probably let me stay, but she lives in Basingstoke, so it's got a hell of a commute. But it would be free.
Yeah, I don't even know where that is, dude. My knowledge of English terrain is just non-existent. It's all the south to me, right? Like,
yeah, that's it. The south.
In Game of Thrones, when people from like south of the wall, but like the north or Westeros, are like, oh, we're from the north. And when the wildlings are like, yeah, you're from the south, pal. See, as soon as someone from Liverpool pipes up, oh, I'm from the north, get the France, mate. There's
the front door. Use it. Get out.
Yeah.
So what is pretty interesting about the RTT this time around is, as it's on at the same time as the major, what we call them a major, which would be the London tournament. A lot of the kind of people that we would turn up at a tournament and you'd be like, yeah, they're going to win, will not be at this tournament, which makes it more exciting because it makes it feel a little bit more like there are a number of people in our club that could win in the RTT. There are a number of people coming tomorrow that could win.
There's still quite, from my perspective, there's one or two big names still in there, but they were like, they've not been to as frequently at tournaments in the last couple of years. But I would still say that they are quite big names.
Okay.
There's a few of them in there. There's also really good players in there as well, and amongst them, and it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be good fun.
I think a lot of the usual kind of top dogs are out, so it really is anyone's game, and I think that's very exciting.
Yep.
And I think actually this has been a great tournament if you're new to tournaments to sign up for, because like I said, it's full of wild cards.
Yeah.
And again, looking at some of the lists,
you won't have
stuff on the cards, mate.
I mean, a lot of new players when they come to the tournaments and stuff like that is, I don't want to go up against him. I don't want to go up against him. Like, if I go up against him, I know I'll lose. But that, even though that's the kind of game that you want to go into and you want to learn, and you might not want to learn the hard way, but you will learn the hard way. And most of those people that will make you learn the hard way will happily tell you what you did wrong or how better to improve. But yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, like the reason, one of the reasons that people grudge people like Ennis Wilson is because when you play him, it's like free coaching, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And also lovely guy. Yeah, but the reason to grudge the great players and why it's like a privilege to play at top tables is because like that's when you learn, you know.
Yeah,
you also get altitude sickness when you're up at the top table when you've you've grudged them. You start getting like nosebleeds and everything.
That's true. My claim to fame, and it'll probably never happen again, is that the last RTT I ended up top table in the second game, just because of how many points I scored in the first game. I was on stream and everything, boys. It was some buzz. I then fell hard in the next two games and lost them both. But that initial buzz, oh my goodness, what a high.
The altitude got you.
It's true.
Yeah, and actually, I'm looking at the stats right now for our tournament. I can actually share them with you guys.
Yeah, share
if
them.
you'd like.
Okay,
for people watching, I can share that, and hopefully it's not my scuds. It's just this page. Perfect.
I prepared the other one.
If you lads like numbers, if you're like me and hate people but love numbers, this is the stuff. So I did a little breakdown of our current tournament at the top, and then at the bottom is our last tournament we ran. As you can see, still 14 different factions seeing play this weekend, which is phenomenal because it means it's going to be a nice, healthy mix. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's always going to be a disproportionate amount of Space Marines, but that's to be expected. It's Warhammer, and everyone has a Space Marine army.
Watered down Gene Seed.
Yeah. Weak. So yeah, we can see like lots of play on Space Marines, still a good amount of play on Eldari, and a good amount of play on Chaos Space Marines, which I think are probably the two of the strongest factions in the game at the moment. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, even though Eldar got a big points increase, and as well as getting the overall nerf to,
Devwins.
To Devwins, it's a nerf, but still, it's pretty nasty still.
Yeah, they're still awesome. And they're great, man.
And they're still good to utilise it, so,
how much is a Fire Prism? It's still sub 200, right?
Yeah. It's still...
180. Yeah, I'd put 3 of them in my list. Auto-populate 3 Fire Prisms.
And CSM is just as good as well with what they can do.
Yeah. I've been playing them recently, and Abaddon... It does feel a bit like Abaddon and Friends because the Abaddon rerolls are really where your damage comes from, right?
Abby the
Reroll all
Slapper.
hits and an aura. Oh god, dude! I remember I was playing against Odie and he charged. In fairness, he charged Mephiston and 10 Assault Intercessors and Abaddon and the Terminators, and he did manage to kill 4 Terminators in combat. Then Abaddon hit them back. And Abaddon, just alone, Abaddon killed 10 Assault Intercessors in 1 activation.
That is hard.
Nuts. That's
He's pretty good, dude.
nuts.
He's pretty good.
And then Gazgul, I mean, he's still crap.
Yeah, he did have a sweep. What a fucking loser.
Oh, what a wimp.
What
I can't even tell if he's 18 people or 19.
Yes.
Fat mess that he is.
So, I think something that's really interesting, you'll note this little grey bar here. I put it grey because this is a boring-looking faction. Leagues of Votan.
What losers play Leagues of
Yeah.
Votan? That's all I'm saying.
Notice in the
Dark
other
Kings Unite.
Notice in the GVO, there was none. There was no League of Votan.
I think
now-
that is down to the balanced data slate.
Is that
Yes,
is that
very much
is
so.
that meta chasing? I don't know. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I'd
Yeah.
argue it is. To be
Absolutely.
honest. I don't care about it, man. It's brilliant. It's Bibles best. But, yeah, Leagues of Votan, two lists in, and
Yeah.
I think they are potentially quite different flavours.
Mhm.
Here, can I request if you can just zoom in a little bit? We've had some asks on
Yes, sir.
on the Twitch chat just to zoom in a
I
bit
I
closer.
think everyone just needs to get the binoculars out. Go on.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Stick those binoculars on.
So let's blow that up. There you go.
There.
The pie chart on the left is just because I
Yeah,
love
we're doing
fucking pie charts, bro. So, yeah, like a really nice mix. Also, Grey Knights.
I know. I love the Grey Knights, man.
I think they're cool.
So someone
Grey
please
Knights.
explain to me. I think Dave,
What?
you have the sort of the inside scoop of the Grey Knights. So for me in my head, when I look at the Grey Knights, what they can do, how much movability they have, like all their shenanigans. For me, I'm like, they should be. I feel like they should be a top. They should be a top army to play. And in my head, I'm like, oh, but the big, what they called the Nemesis
Grandmaster.
Dread Knights have a lot of high strength weapons as well. But what kind of holds them back? Like, what is the reason that we're maybe not seeing them that much in tournament play?
So the thing, I mean, it's all very well and good be like having high mobility. Like for instance, like Gene Stealer Cult have high mobility with coming back and whatnot. But see, in all honesty, if you are a good player and you know what to do, how to stop it, and how to just keep somebody, like if you're Grey Knights and you're going into MSU, you're going to have a hard time being able to jump about the board. I mean, you can jump from one side to the other in your own deployment zone or on your side of the no man's land, but you're not really going to be gaining any foothold unless you take out, their backline and whatnot. But then Grey Knights don't really have that much in the way of, unless you stick a flyer in there, you're not really going to get to those backline that are negating you from basically getting in the backline. I mean, they're quite good at choppy, especially an army as I can't remember, was it Keir pointed out? They're a 2+ save army. I mean,
Across the board, by the way, on the strike commands and everything.
they are good.
Yeah.
They are good, but if someone's able to just, like, if somebody goes first, just for talking sake, right? If orcs, I'll just
Yeah.
automatically go to orcs, right? If they go first, they're in your face. They'll be in your deployments. They will, if you're on the line, they will be on you. They'll be on you, and then that'll be you hemmed in your deployment zone. And then
I don't think the
Right,
Grey
right.
Knights mind that so much, dude.
Well,
Okay.
I would.
The reason I feel that way is because, firstly, just conditionally, Grey Knights match up against Orcs is nice because they have those Strength 6 force weapons across the board.
No, but I'm just talking about like when it comes to like
But-
that's you hemmed in, and
Yeah, their faction rule is trickier to play.
yeah,
However, you need to. You're forcing the Orc player to stay honest, screening out the whole board, which takes resources. in addition, they still have their sub-faction rule, which is literally everything. Sorry, not everything. I think all your infantry and your dread knights all auto-advance 6.
Yeah,
That's still fast, bro.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But if
It's everything.
the
Everything
thing
auto-advances
is
6.
they have gotten cheaper, but they are still quite pricey.
They
So
are quite pricey.
you're not going to have
Yeah.
as many feet in the ground as you will like in other factions.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally you've got a 60-point truck. You could just park
Yeah.
in the corner, and then that's negating.
So what I think is a
a
nice bit of play that the Grey Knights have around that, and this is again, this is all just devil's advocate stuff, which I know everyone who does says just to be the devil's advocate. They're always a knob, and I'm being a knob here, but they are.
I'm a devil's advocate.
So, prognosticated arrival is one command point. When you bring in a Grey Knight's Psyker unit, which I think is most of their stuff,
Is it pretty much all of it?
from Deep Strike or Teleport Assault, you can set them up more than 3 inches away.
Yeah, they've got a 3-inch
from
like Sea Steel one.
And if you bring in, say, a Purgation Squad, or I mean, you can bring a Dread Knight in, but the base is big. I think the Purgation Squad is easier to sneak in. If you bring in a Purgation Squad or something like that, 3 inches away, they can't charge that turn, but that's big enough to shoot a hole in a screen. Yeah. And I don't think your opponent will be fast enough to plug the hole before you can get your boys in there.
Yeah.
The question is, though, how many points is... I mean, if you're plugging in a hole, doing that, putting large investment, how much is that?
It's not a large investment. Purgation Squad ain't too expensive. And even then, like, you don't need to use that. That's just, I think, an example because they shoot quite hard. Purgation Squad is 135 points.
For a full squad or just half a squad?
5 for 135, and I think they all 4 out of the 5 of them get the quote unquote heavy weapons. They're not actually heavy weapons, but in addition, if somebody else can see the target, the Purgation Squad can shoot them indirect all the time.
Now,
so
have you
can do that. What was that?
Have you got the Grey Knights stuff open?
Yes.
What is the strength of the? Oh God, what have I done?
Purgation Squad Incinerator shoots 12 inches. This is the one that I like because it ignores all the benefits or all the cons of indirect. The incinerator, I think this is really cheeky with Grey Knights. 4 incinerators in the Purgation Squad because they're like a flamer, except they're strength 6 and they ignore cover, which means that you don't have to roll to hit, so you don't have the penalty to ballistic skill that you usually have with indirect. You're ignoring cover, so your opponent gets no benefit from cover, like they normally would with indirect, and it can shoot through walls as long as something else can see it. That's cute, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I think I wonder with the Grey Knights, do Grey Knights suffer a little bit for being a high skill army? So like, because they're so high skill, especially for the better players, they're like, you know what, I can just take one of my other armies, which are also doing really well, i.e. CSM, or another one of these armies that kind of go at the same level and not have to think as hard as I might do with Grey Knights. Whereas if you had someone a bit like how Gene Stealers were in 9th, where lots of complexities around their strategy and stuff, lots of thinking you had to do, you didn't see them get played that much.
I would say that Grey Knights just now are kind of, well, I wouldn't say they're like Harlequins at the end of in 9th, because Harlequins were very elite. You needed, like, everything needed, all your measurements needed to be precise. They needed to be, you had to plan everything in advance. And it was literally, you had to utilize everything, every every inch to get a win, especially in a very, very hard matchup. It was very, very skill orientated. And I would say right now, the stats for Grey Knights are low because people are still trying to work out like how best to utilize them. They don't have that much in way of high strength stuff to deal with
Yes.
vehicles, monsters. They don't have any of that.
This is my issue
They
with
do
them.
have some, but they don't have much. And I think that's what's letting them down as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that they can't, I don't think they've got much in the way of psychic. Like you used to have like cyber ammunition or sight and all that sort of stuff. They've also lost a lot of their sight. Like a lot of their damage output was psychic, in addition to shooting. So they've lost.
To be honest, their combat used to be fucking rad. Like the combat used to just murder everything they touched.
Yep.
But Strength 6 is not what it used to be. Strength 6 is now wounding.
But
no, I agree with that.
I mean,
you essentially have to take your Dread Knights to do that damage, and they are pretty expensive. The Dread Knights.
What's the difference in combat? Because think
this sucks. By the way, this feels absolutely terrible. The Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight is Strength 14 with its hammer, but the hammer has 5 attacks hitting on 4s. The Grandmaster.
Okay, that's shit.
That's terrible, dude.
It used to be 2s. They used to always no matter what.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's on 4s and it's Strength 14. It's fine. It's not amazing. Strength 14 is good.
Yeah, it's not.
It's going to wound vehicles on 3s and stuff like that. But
what's the sword?
The sword is laughable. The sword is terrible.
It's not
5 attacks. 10. It hits on 3s. Strength 10.
Strength 10.
So against any heavy vehicles, which are not uncommon, you're wounding on 5s. And I think the Grandmaster has an ability to, once per battle round, it can reroll hit, wound, and damage rolls against a vehicle or monster. Fine. But that's pretty god-awful, dude. Hitting on 4s absolutely sucks because it can be Swing City, even with the rerolls.
Yeah.
I play Tau. I know that. But yeah, I think that Grey Knights are held back first and foremost by their lack of a high strength damage output because they just struggle to get through vehicles. To be honest, I would not hate.
And when they get in combat, I mean, they're still, as you just read out their stats.
They're Strength 6, bro.
They've not got a lot of stuff. Sorry, they've not got a lot of attacks.
Yeah,
I think if
that's the problem.
If you could take the Armiger Warglaves or the Armigers, the Imperial Knight Wardog variants, if you could take them with a double shooting loadout like the Chaos Wardogs, like if there was an Imperial Knight version of the Brigand, I'd love to see 2 of them souped into Grey Knights, because the cannon plus the thermal spear would just be cute for your anti-vehicle, and it's just like 300 or so points.
Yeah.
But if you're taking the Imperial variant, you have to have one ranged weapon, one melee weapon, which is very sad for them, but suck it.
So, just to say hello to everyone that's joining us in Twitch. We've got quite a lot of people watching, which is great. Anything that comes to thoughts for you about Grey Knights, about any of those armies, points you want to put across, questions you have, please just ask us. We're monitoring that chat. We'll bring those questions in. So if we move away from the Grey Knights a bit to another Marines list, here's a question. I don't know this, so someone else may need to answer it because I'm a little bit behind on my news. Has the Space Marine Codex come out yet?
No.
Not yet, but the orders are up.
But the Tyranid one has, right?
Yep. Indeed.
So great to see we've got a Tyranid player coming. And honestly, I think a little bit of a dark horse, because how many other people will have read the Codex to know what it is that Tyranids do? You know what I mean?
I don't really know what the list is. What is the Tyranids?
Hey, don't go too deep into it.
I'm not going to go into it, but the detachment rule is the synaptic this, and if you give me 2 seconds, I will.
Yes.
It was just to see if what detachment it's got. That's mostly
the important bit.
It's the synaptic nexus, which actually, truth be told, wasn't the one I was expecting. Hopefully,
no, I wasn't expecting that.
I really anticipated seeing lots and lots of Vanguard. Because the Vanguard one is absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness. Does Vanguard Tyranid Detachment have every single rule that I love? It's got like advance and charge. It's got redeploys. there's a way to make your lone operative untargetable unless you're within 6 of them. So, not to deep dive on the list too much, but just to give you a bit of an idea, I do have the rules for Synaptic Nexus open in front of me.
Yeah, that's okay.
To start the battle round, you can select one of the below abilities. So, while while a unit is within range of synapse creatures, basically, I think the idea is your synapse creatures give out auras, right? So,
Yep.
synapse creatures are a big deal here. The first aura that he can give out is an aura of 5-up invulnerable save, which is really good.
That's quite tasty.
By the way, you can only use each of these once per battle.
Mm.
So it's kind of like Doctrines.
Yeah.
In an aura from Synapse, which I think is cool.
That's that's snazzy.
So once per game, you can throw out the old 5-up invulns. Surging Vitality is the next one. +1 to advance and charge while you're in Synapse range, which is also great.
That's amazing.
Particularly on units which can advance and charge. And if I'm having a look...
When it's free.
I actually don't see any in that list, which is interesting. Maybe they have a stratagem for it. And the last one is Go to the Slaughter, which is when it's within Synapse range of your army. Each time it makes a melee attack, add 1 to the hit roll. So, +1 to hit in melee, and +1 to advance and charge, and 5-up invulnerable save. I think the big one there for me is the aura of 5-up invuln. That's rad on bugs that have a 5 or 6-up save, you know?
Yeah. And we've got people in the chat saying, Synaptic Nexus, gotta love it. Can't wait to try them. So,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's like the majority of the stuff in the NIDS Codex is actually pretty cool. The only one that I'm quite disappointed in, mostly because I've been in the receiving end of it quite a lot. And when it first came out and then came out again, was the name escapes me.
What does it do?
The big monsters. It's the big monster. The Crusher Stampede. Is it Crusher Stampede?
Yeah. Crusher Stampede.
I must admit, I was really disappointed in that. Like the faction ability for it. I mean,
it's shit. Yeah, no, it's one of the worst.
I mean, that is so sad. I mean, you have to.
It's rubbish. Yeah.
It sucks. It really, really does. I mean, there's some stratagems and some abilities or whatever they're called, that they get access to, which are pretty cool, which are really, really good.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go Crusher Stampede just so you can get them because it's.
I'm not deep diving the list because again we don't want to be giving too much away. But I will say that this Tyranids list I think it's really cool. I think it has a lot of it's got a couple of the fun new models. Put it that way.
Good. So if we move away from Tyranids into other interesting lists, other factions that have maybe got a bit of a buff from the data slate that might get on pretty well, we have Orcs. So how we feel about Orcs since the data slate, I think that's made them really strong. I actually played against a list that's coming to this tournament on Saturday, and it was a miserable affair for me. I will say, so if you are the Gene Stealer player, cross your fingers that you do not come up against this list because it will be a punishing experience, and do not be sad if it doesn't go that well. But Dave being the Orc Oracle, having played Orcs for a very long time,
the Oracle, if you will,
the Oracle. I think I need a hat for them.
Tell us how are Orcs sort of shaping up at the moment after this data slate that's just dropped? Oh, a very beautiful hat.
A wee hat.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So no shooty. We don't do shooty anymore.
Yes.
Shooty, they fucked shooty. Shooty doesn't exist for Orcs right now because they took all of our guns. Well, they didn't take all of our guns, but they took all of our bullets. It sucked.
Okay.
They took all your teeth and your good bits.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crap. I mean, some weapons we get twin linked. That's cool if you can hit.
Yeah, because it's so hard to hit with the
Anyway,
orcs.
so it's now all about combat now. It's literally you're playing. I mean, you'll have was it most orcs lists? I mean, I don't know. There's 2 orc lists going. One of them I do know, and one of them I don't know. The most orcs will have some small forms of shooting, which will be good, and if they hit, and then if they wound. But the main thing is going to be the main linchpin is going to be when they touch you. I mean, yeah, they will hurt you, especially as. I mean, there's none in the list that are going right. Sorry, the 2 lists that are going. Well, I've no doubt. Well, the one that I know is going to be fun. I actually want to watch the first game. It's Aiden versus Alan. I've forgotten how you say his surname.
Mandelson.
That's it. It's basically
That'd be a good game, dude.
It'll be Orcs versus Chaos, and it's CSM Abbey versus Mozrog, who's an absolute monster. He should be Gazgul.
I think against
he's the primal orc.
any other faction, that might actually be quite a dull game. But I think CSM are one of the few factions in the game who can kill their way through that orcs list.
Yes.
We've got Mandelson is actually in the chat right now saying
awesome.
Looking forward to that match. And we're looking forward to seeing it. So I would say vote for top table for the first game just so we can watch it on the stream.
I would want to watch it. I think it would be a really good game. But there is other there's other games that are there. Sorry, there's other I would like to watch. There's a few. I think it's Larry versus Chris Chung. It's Eldar versus Marines. I mean,
yes.
Sorry, is Larry on Eldar? I think Larry is on Grey Knights, actually.
Do you mean, is it Joseph you're maybe thinking of?
I think so.
Is it Larry into
I can
Chung?
check the pairings just now.
Sure.
Chris Chung against Lewis.
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 Sorry. Yeah, that is going to be a good game. That's 2 individuals who know their armies so well.
Yeah.
You know what? They're both so nice they'll lull you into the false sense of security. And
as they're battering you over the face. I've experienced both of that happening. It's like, I want to dislike how badly I'm being beaten right now, but you are too nice to me for me to hate.
Now, there's one person everybody needs to watch out for at this tournament who is a dark horse, right? And those who know that Bruce Wade is a dark horse. Just putting it out there. Those who know.
What's Bruce taken?
Thousand Suns.
He's artist.
Wizards, bro.
Bruce Wade is the man to watch out for.
I like his list. It's cool.
But there's loads of games. There's loads of games. In fact, I would want to watch all the games because I think there's going to be, as we said right at the very start, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. Folk are going to enjoy themselves. So
I think it's I
would preferably want to watch the orc games because
you love orcs.
Yeah, I mean,
green is best.
Green is best, you know. I mean, it's gotten a lot of them don't have a lot of grots, but still, you know, you stand by your brother.
I made sure to make the orcs bar green in my.
I love it. I love that. That's so good. We've got some stuff coming up in the chat. One of my favorites, which literally made me lol, is Orchimedes Brown is now your new name for always.
Orchimedes Brown.
Can we get that changed in the studio, please?
Can I have that on my top?
Change it, dude.
Can I have that on my top? I want that engraved on my top.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my god.
Get a text sent to bloody Anna Dave immediately.
Literally, Dave, we're gonna have to pause the podcast as we make sure that order is happening.
Don't worry, I'm multitasking.
Oh my god, that is who said that? That is absolutely amazing. You get a wee featured, like a feature, and then that person's name below it. That is fucking gold.
So looking across, we have interestingly, after the data slate and maybe some of the sort of factions that got weakened a bit, we've got kind of two of them sitting within coming to the tournament. We've got the Death Watch, and we also have Imperial Knights. Are Death Watch as bad as people felt they were when that data slate dropped?
We have one Death Watch player, and it's Tim Dagnall, and I think he was our only Death Watch player last tournament also.
Oh, amazing.
And he played that very, very well.
Indeed, yeah.
He played that very, very well. And his army's fucking beautiful.
It's cracking, I like that shit.
Just putting that out there. I think still Death Watch have got a really good.
Hard agree.
They've got play. Absolutely. I mean,
very good player too. I think there is a skill ceiling. Sorry, there's a skill floor to playing Death Watch. You know what? I think they are a little bit.
I would say it's the same as Bane.
They require maybe a little more thought. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's okay. It's a different. It's a
you
different
have to think about
play.
what you're doing. You know.
It's a different style of play, but as long as you and Tim's I've known Tim since I started doing tournaments, and he's always either been with his Sisters of Battle, I think it was Sisters of Battle and Death Watch, and he was like, I love but hate Tim because both times I've played him, I've lost, mostly because I couldn't make a successful charge against him ever in any of my games, and I failed every single charge. So I love him, but I hate him.
And what I would say is Sisters are still not strong at the moment, really.
No, they're struggling, dude. And it's because Sisters used to be an army of, once you get close to us, we're gonna mess you up. So just you stay at distance.
Yeah,
and now it's like, once you get close to us, you're gonna mess us up. So we'll stay our distance.
And I think as well with the Sisters that a lot of their fluff, a lot of what they did was based around denying psychic phase. So
that was
really psychic.
I'm gonna go out and say it right now. As a guy who played multiple psychic armies, any 6-up denies, 4-up denies, especially a 6-up, you take the vow to make it all 5-up denies, and if you fail it, you spend a CP and try a 4-up deny too.
Yeah.
That feels just terrible to play against, so I'm really glad they did away with it. Well, it does, because it's not fun. It's like, okay, this is your faction's thing. Okay, well, on a 4-up, fuck you. Right? Like, thanks for playing. Like, oh, you're reliant on a psychic secondary? Great. Nah,
mate.
Anyway.
Gone. Get out.
Alan's saying that Sisters is now an MSU horde army with tanks, and I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
But they're just struggling to punch up, dude.
Was it the fact Repentia isn't really that good anymore? They've lost that was their main punch. Like just about that was a staple unit in any of the factions army. Like you usually had two rhinos, and there was literally like, right, I'm going to torpedo these wee like, you know, lovely people with their big bloody swords that are twice the size of them, and then go straight into whatever it is they touch and just blind it.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And
they don't have that anymore. Well, they do.
And do they still have miracle dice though, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
And I believe it's still it works still roughly the same. I think I can't remember off the top of my head. I've not had the need or the reason to look at Sisters.
Yeah, they're saying in the chat. They're saying roughly it does.
That's it's sad that Repentia don't exist anymore because Repentia are very, very cool.
Yes, and beautiful models.
Also, it is on Twitch. I don't know who knows, but if you're a Twitch user, a Twitch aficionado, it is September, and so just to say thanks to all the viewers, I have gifted a sub.
Oh, thank you so much. And also, what I will say, if you are a Prime user, Amazon Prime user, and you, I'm pretty sure it still works the same way. If you have Prime Gaming, you get a free sub gift as well. So please use it for us because that would be amazing.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Thaddeus Drake. I think it randomly gives out who I gifted the sub to, so I gifted one in, and it's gone to Mamba733. So you are now a Twitch subscriber, and I think actually may have been our first Twitch subscriber.
Nice,
amazing. Yeah, it's 25% off sub stuff. But yeah, if you have Prime, it will cost you nothing with your Prime subscription. So very cool.
So please subscribe. But yeah, going into the chat.
I was trying to write sub on my forehead, but I think the pen's...
don't do that, bro. You work on a bus. Don't write sub on your forehead. You deal with the public, dude.
Excuse me. I had two, I'll say, young ladies today say that you're the best bus driver I think I've ever seen, because I helped a wee old lady on the bus. You cannot touch me tonight. You cannot touch me. That sounds really wrong. You can't touch me tonight.
All those lies people say about you, Dave. They don't know. They don't know the real you.
Glasses are off. The glasses are off.
So we've got someone saying in the chat just right now, I'm interested to see how Custodes perform. So thoughts around Custodes. We actually have a battle report from Custodes Eldar that was dropped maybe 2 weeks ago. Pretty interesting game. Custodes kind of are always just there.
Eldar
I don't know a time where I was ever like, Custodes, they're not very good right now.
Derek against Lewis. Sadly, the audio is not really there yet. We're trying really hard, but we're looking at fixes in that in the future. I've been in touch with an audio engineer, and hopefully they're going to get back to us.
I blame the Nurglings. It was the Nurglings or the Grots. It was one of the two.
It's those damn Grots, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw my Prime subscription into the channel to lead by example. There we go.
Great.
I'll do that once I get the chance to, because my phone is my camera, and if I try to go on Twitch, it will just kick me off, and
Custodes though. Sorry, I'm going to try and keep this on topic because I'm aware people will be listening. I just remember people will be listening and not just on stream. Big slap in the mouth with the Custodes changes. Everything got more expensive. You can't take your squads nearly as large anymore either, which makes your efficiency through the floor compared to what it used to be in terms of your leaders giving out buffs.
And they
very
also
sad.
They also get a nerf to their I've forgotten what it's called.
The faction rules, the Aegis of the Emperor. Yeah, nope, you're 100% correct.
Was it the 4-up field?
They have a 4-up against mortal plate. Yeah, because now dev wounds aren't mortals; they just sink straight through.
So although it now means it's more like it's not going to be frequently used, but
it's rough. It's really rough. It's but I love that people still playing the factions, and Matty Gibson on Custodes at the tournament.
Is that who it is? Okay, great.
Yeah. I am actually looking quite forward to hearing and seeing how the League of Votann do. I think out of all the armies there, I would say Tau, but I don't really care for Tau because in most of the times that I play against Tau, they would just shoot me off the board. So I don't really care about fishy people.
Madness, mad changes.
They're quite killing.
Oh my!
But they are so durable.
Yeah.
Dave was telling me some of the some of the strats that they can have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh hell!
They're just fucking. They dish out +1 to hit and wound relentlessly.
Yes. And it's the tokens, the changes to the tokens that they made, and how crazy cheap they are now. They are like a horde army with so much killing. Dave, El Presidente Dave playing Leagues of Votann as a Leagues of Votann player, he was like, I have to buy literally
have to
a
buy
whole
this.
nother army because I've got just don't have enough models,
me-
not even close to enough now. Which
I just
is
want to zoom
wild.
in on the biggest thing for me is the Sagittar.
Yes.
So, it's technically a dedicated transport. It's what it falls under, I believe. However, it's 100 points. It's toughness 10 with 9 wounds, which is fine. Means it doesn't bracket, which is cute. Do you remember, I don't know if you remember, Space Marines being able to combat squads? Like split a big squad into 2 smaller squads? It allows you to do that with your 10-man infantry blobs. So your one squad fills 2 Sagittars dedicated transport requirements to be filled with troops.
So
But the biggest thing for me is...
they're saying in the chat you can take 6 of them.
Yeah, because it's dedicated transports, bro.
Yep.
Wow.
And you only need 3 infantry squads, because if you put a dedicated transport down, I believe you need to have a unit in it,
Yes.
or it is destroyed. So you can put 3 infantry squads into 6. Now they all scout move 6. That's awesome. That's good enough, dude.
Mhm.
They move 12. They're
Yeah.
OC3, whatever.
And they're not that big either. They're not that.
No, they're
It's massive
tiny.
models.
They are smaller than a rhino. I'm looking at my shells. I'd say
comparing
they're
it to,
maybe the
like,
size
trucks
of
as well.
I'd say they're maybe the size of 3 of the old CSM bikes, 2 side by side and then 1 perpendicular.
You know,
to
but
that
they actually was it size wise look kind of like, which I didn't realize until someone at the club was playing Tau, and it was Tetris who were playing.
There, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they were tiny, and I saw
Thank you, mate.
the Sagittar.
Sagittar.
That's it. Sagittar is actually just about the same size as a Tetris or Tetra, whatever it is. The bitey thing.
I've not even got into the good bit yet. It only gets better. So firstly, a T10 transport that pre-game moves 6 for 100 points is awesome on your slow army. Secondly, blistering advance. Units that can disembark from this transport after it has advanced. Awesome. That's great. So they can advance at the board, then your boys can hop out, which is great for stealing movement. But I haven't got to the good bit yet. They have a las cannon that shoots 2 shots and has sustained hits V3.
Yeah.
Sorry. They also have a heavy bolter too, but a strength 6 heavy bolter and the twin a las cannon that shoots 2 shots. It's 100 points, bro. You can't go wrong with that.
I mean, I know we're not really supposed to deep dive into lists, but yeah, it's sorry, not deep dive into lists.
Yeah.
No, that's just one unit that I thought was the big pivotal one. That's so dirt cheap.
Yeah, I mean
That's crazy.
It's and like I say, the fact that its footprint's tiny as well. It's like, okay, I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to scout move 6, and now I'm behind the building. You can't see me unless you have to go into a really bad position and to see it to then blow up. But then all my wee jubblies inside are just going to come out and go,
Yeah.
I'll scout move 6, then I'll advance in my turn, and my boys will still be able to hop out. Grab that point. But I think, that in combination with the troops being just so cheap, but also they are T5 on the troops, by the way.
That is crazy.
Yeah, the troops are T5, dude.
It's because they diggy hole.
Yeah, they're hard to hit. They reflect their hardness to hit by making them tougher. They're T5, and they have a 6-up feel no pain from the med pack in the squad from the war gear. Votan has 6 data sheets describing one as a deep dive. Yep, not wrong. Very much like the Grey Knights Thousand Suns issue of tiny model range. So yeah, with Votan, the troops are so tough. They have a 6-up feel no pain. They have a 4-up save, which is fine. They have T5, like I said, but they're OC2, so you can't just ignore them. They'll contest your points.
But then it's also the fact that that's not even taking into consideration stratagems that you can put in place to make them even more survivable. And you're like,
it's true. It's true.
What the?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if they're out in the open, I mean, I'm not going to say some of the stratagems, but like
you have stuff like smoke screen anyway.
Like these wee diggy hole guys are just going to go. I'm going to diggy hole so you can't hit me.
Yeah.
The Votan bikes got slapped, which I'm glad because they were just too good last edition.
But yeah, conscious of we could go deep diving into a lot of these.
God,
But
relax.
one of the ones that I'm really thinking about right now is our big boys, our Imperial Knights. We've got 2 Imperial Knights players. How well do you think they're going to get on? It's a very hard job for them to move around that board, especially with how much terrain sits on these boards, on these UKTC boards.
To be honest, the UKTC boards are the lighter. If you go for if you go for WTC, you like that's tough. That's coated. And then you've got to try and get your knights all over that. I think it will be tough, especially with the tweaking of towering. I think they will. I mean, going up against each other, I think they'll be fine. They don't need to worry too much. Against other people, they'll probably have maybe a wee bit of an uphill battle.
It's quite funny because I think Alan's just pointed out that Mark and Nick, the 2 Knights players, are playing each other round 1.
Are
yeah, they are.
Well, that sucks.
I don't think it does. I spoke to Nick before, and he was like, I always see when I've been playing my Knights in tournaments, I see other Knights lists, and we never match up. And he's like, I'm always desperate to play against Knights. And his wish has finally been granted. And actually, to be honest, I've just had a look at both their lists. They are very different. Very different. And I love that Nick has Canis Rex in his list. I think Canis Rex is awesome. I don't want to deep dive. I'm not going to be doing that.
Yeah.
But just love that. And also, I think a lot of the Knights' weaknesses are shored up by they can take in a lot of good allies. Voidsman at Arms is 50 points for a little Action Monkey squad. Love that.
That's true.
It needs to be cheap. A nice to be cheap squad to as well as defend your backline. I mean, instead of putting a knight in your back or a baby knight or a big knight or whatever in the back to deny like one of those knights that just goes jazz hands of I have arrived.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, this is very cute. By the way, the Voidsman at Arms. One of the weapons you can give them is an assault weapon, which means that they can advance and do actions. They also
that's cute.
Can have pistols, which means that they can do actions in combat if they're not killed.
Okay,
so they're not super tough. They're just little T3 guys, little guardsmen profiles, basically. But they're 4-up saves. But they're cute. Yeah, they're very cute for 50-point squads. Love them. It really shows up.
I mean, you're not going to get exactly. Was it 2,000 points on Knights? I don't think. I think it's quite hard
Actually, I think you might be proven wrong here, my man.
Oh,
I think
on the nose?
One of the 2 boys has managed. No, not on the nose. You're right. Curses.
That's fair enough.
No, next 2,000 on the nose.
2,000 on the nose.
So you can take your fingers back.
All right, I'll take. No, but is that with Voidsman or is that just pure Knights?
No, he's pure Knights. Very cool.
I apologise for the fingers.
Thanks.
Questions. Is there any other armies that we haven't really talked about that you want that you think are going to be interesting? Dark horses, anything in there? Obviously, Eldari. Do we really need to speak about Eldari? They're still really solid, still smashing up at the high. So, don't be surprised to see them do pretty well. But like I said, the way that it's paired up, there's a lot of mirror matching at the beginning. So that's going to make it for an interesting next level, because it won't be like Eldari beat everyone and then there's loads of Eldari in the next bit. I think the second round is going to be the interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually quite... I've just realised, and I'm actually quite surprised that, there's no Necrons.
Yeah.
No Necrons,
I think it's a local meta thing. We don't see a lot of
It
A
just
lot of
dawned on me
Necrons.
as like there's like we're talking about like most of the Xenos we've actually like spoken about just about every Xenos, but Necrons we haven't really touched on, and that's because there's no bugger there.
Well,
Well,
yeah, it's a local meta thing, I think.
mm.
Fewer
Well,
Necron
you know,
players.
was it you were saying about Nick? Like since I started playing orcs, like just totally playing orcs for tournament play and whatnot. Like I have never since to this day played against another orc player, and I'm thank fuck I didn't. Because that would just be an absolute ball ache.
Yeah. I always think the reason I wouldn't want to play against another Gene Stealer player is just in case. Well, it's very likely that they'll be a lot better than me, and I will be like, yeah, I'll be like, oh god, I'm so bad. I'm so rubbish at this faction, and it's really being shown up right now.
I think I saw Ryan in with his Necrons on Monday, but just chilling.
So, okay, have you done a Thousand Suns on Thousand Suns, Keir?
No, but I think that'd be kind of a mess. Actually, to be honest, I think that like turn 1, kind of nothing would happen. I think turn 2, 3, everything dies, and then turn 4 and 5 is who can scrape the most points together.
Is that when both Maggie Mazers are on the board going, I'm
yeah,
fabulous?
because both armies kind of shoot 24 inches.
No, we're not talking about size here, Keir.
Listen, size matters, and I'm sorry of pretending it doesn't. So,
right, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no Imperial Guard list either. Pointed out, fair. Yeah. They are a faction are also, I don't want to say struggling because I don't know if I'm not sure what their win rate is like, but they just, I think it's because they're not flashy, and to be honest, like I don't love. It makes me kind of sad. Imperial Guard has this identity built around indirect fire, which is cool thematically.
Yeah.
Right, indirect fire and infantry, and then tanks. Awesome. But it feels absolutely terrible to play against heavy indirect fire lists.
Mm-hmm.
So to make their theme work, they have to make indirect fire good for Guard. But it feels awful to play against it. Like,
yep.
Yeah, brutal. I don't know. I've played enough fucking full payload Manticores from 8th edition to be salty as fuck about it.
And
Flat
Thunderfire cannons.
Get it the hell out.
Steve Burns, who is going to be playing against we're just talking about him, he's Death Watch.
Tim Dagnall.
Tim Dagnall, he's playing against Tim Dagnall, which is going to be another good matchup. So Steve Burns was one of the first people that I played against when at the end of 8th, when Thunderfire cannons were rampant and Imperial Fists were rampant with their heavy weapons, and then getting sustained. Well, it wasn't sustained at the time, but we'll just call it sustained. It was god awful. Forever will hate Thunderfire cannons, Whirlwinds, Scorpius. Fuck them all.
Yeah. And what I will say is, I'm looking at the stats right now. Militarum 40% win rate. They're second lowest with Mechanicus still below them.
Chat chiming in saying 46 to 48, and then immediately after 47. So we can say on average 47.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty rough stuff.
And Drakari's not there either.
No, Drakari.
That's not surprising. I feel like Drakari.
They've got a real.
Isn't that played, but also are just like kind of.
They're not in a great
struggling. Because their sub-faction is like, take a bit of everything, but actually. Like, Dark Lances are good, everything else kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, was it one of the mods, Al? He plays Drakari, and he was telling me and showing me the stats on like witches, and they're
witches suck, rude.
They're absolutely terrible. They were frightening, absolutely frightening last edition, and the edition before they were absolutely frightening, and now they're like, Like, really? And the same with the rest of the stuff. Like,
witches can't hold a las cannon. Get them out of the list.
I mean, Dark Lances, are fucking nasty.
Yeah, the Lances are like, but that's like all you want though, right? Like,
what are blasters like? Are they not? Are they similar but just less range?
From what? Sorry.
from Dark Lances? Because it was blasters were roughly the same stat line, weren't they?
On the Ravager, you're either Dark Lances or Disintegrator Cannons, and the Disintegrator Cannon is so Dark Lances. For reference, one shot at strength 12 minus 3d6 plus 2 damage. Autumn. Better las cannon. And the Disintegrator Cannons on the Ravager are 3 shots at strength 5 minus 2 damage. It's just terrible.
Jesus Christ.
But yes, No, Dave, go. No. What about what?
I was going to say, like...
Oh, sorry, yeah, I see the blaster now. It's through the Cabalite Warriors. Yeah, 1 shot strength 8 minus 4. It's like the Melta versus Las Cannon comparison for most other factions of Melta's just kind of worse.
Well, that sucks.
So...
Does it? Not for me.
So, we could talk about these... We could go into this. We could give you a 2-hour freaking show on this, but we respect your time and having to listen to me, Dave and Keir, go on about 40k, which is, for me, a really enjoyable experience. But
yes,
but we wish everyone luck on Saturday. It's going to be an amazing time. I look forward to watching the streams. I look forward to seeing what goes down over the weekend, who reigns victorious, who rolls ones the whole tournament. Just want to know what's happening. We've got a little bit of motivation in there about, if in doubt, add more wine, but please do not drink in the club, as you are not allowed to do that.
Yeah. Nothing, nobody even under the influence in the club.
Yeah.
No.
Because there's an environment where we have vulnerable people, so we do not endorse it.
But yes, thank you.
In the ball, guys.
Yes, Sars. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone in Twitch. Loads of people in Twitch, loads of activity in that chat. We are loving that. It is encouraging us to continue doing this live, because
thank you very much for watching, guys.
Happy. It makes it way more
I think
enjoyable.
the stream is just going to be enjoyed.
Chiming in and talking.
There we go.
Here it comes.
And he's back away.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, did I pop out?
You're on the McDonald's Wi-Fi next door or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just saying, thank you so much for everyone that has joined us on Twitch. It's been amazing. That really keeps us going as well. Just makes the podcast more fun, having you all talking and chatting with us while we are recording. And for all of you that are listening on Spotify or on YouTube, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave comments. Anything we maybe got wrong. We don't know everything, even though potentially we pretend we do. Well, Keir knows.
I'm just here for the lulz.
Yeah.
Right, guys, if you're going to be at the club night tomorrow, also have a great night. I will be down, but have a good one. I'll be tuning in the stream as well. We'll be hanging out and chat.
Yeah, and love you all. And please like and subscribe everywhere. And please join our Discord if you don't.
Twitch Prime subs, baby.
Get them in. We've had a few in already. That's been amazing.
That's a different.
That's a different subscription you've got there, mate. But yes, thank you so much, and we will catch you at the next podcast where we will be looking back at the RTT and talking about what went down. So please join us from that one. That will be another good one. And thank you very much. See you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.